Okay, I just want to take you through some basic dev tools that we have at awali. So the first thing I'm going to do is just start a quick project. Now, one important thing about a project is to pick a correct level of complexity. And in this example, I'm going to show you one of the more complex frameworks we can set up. This is a Django framework. One of the reasons we do this is we just have a quick tool to kind of lay down the tracks and install everything. But it also has an opinion. And we've learned if you're going to get help with AI tools and go very fast, you're going to need it to have an opinion on these more advanced frameworks. So for instance, how do you do the URL registration? How do you organize your models? Are they in a folder? Are your views in their own folder? Or is it just all, right there under one app? So a lot of opinion. The other thing we do is we add in a features folder at the correct level. And it's very important. Our design philosophy of how to go fast always includes BDD, which is behavioral driven development. And this is something that the executives can understand. This is something QA can test against. This is something the coders, the engineers can work against, and everybody's on the same page, product managers as well. So it's written in simple language, and this will come back and we're going to develop this more. This is one of the most important parts of our process. But just that right there, very cool. We have a project setup. So it's got some instructions just to see the Hello World project. And I'm going to show you that right now. So if I was to run this server and take a quick peek, we have a to-do list. But more importantly, here's an example of enterprise grade projects. We have an entire API level. And so this is all done with best practices. So we can do things like log in, authorize the API, create an item right here. Just out of the gate. So it's just a nice, so now that's been created. And so now if we go back to our app, refresh. So there we go. So that's kind of what our ignition tool does. So we'll have an ignition tool for any type of framework you want to tackle. It's very important to get it right. So now that we have that working, and you know what? Actually, let's run that again. There is an admin portal as well. It's a very advanced. The reason why you'd go with something like Django is just very advanced, all batteries included. So let's go to the admin portal, right? So right here this is where you could do like, single sign-on with Google, and just makes it very easy to manage your roles for your whole site. So one more example of Hello World is we already have a database with migrations. So you can see that we've done an initial migration and added the items into our model. And so where you would see that is a nice little database set up right here. So we would have something like items, and here's my say hello item. So anyway, very easy for us to kind of give you a cookie cutter Hello World start to whatever tech stack that you want. This is just one example tech stack, but you can see how much we're paying the technical debt up front, getting all this right. Because when we do it this way, we've got authentication, we got your database, we got your database migrations in place already. So when we add models, we just migrate them and the database updates. It can be rewound and tested and all that. And we've got the beginnings of behavioral driven tests from the top down. We've got the unit tests, ready to take screenshots from the ground up. So what a great start. So that's just one tool that we have, but we really like to use that to get started. Let me show you the next tool. And this is very important for executives. So here we go. Python liftoff. Liftoff is just an incredible way to describe the project. So let's call it tic-tac-toe. So we're going to, so it's refactoring our Hello World project into our actual tic-tac-toe. That's great. Yeah, let's do that. So primary goal of tic-tac-toe is, yep, I like that. But do we want an AI component to create a basic tic-tac-toe game? Just 2 players, no AI players, no special settings. Let's just keep it basic, right? So when I say that, right, we are going to get oops, I switched screens here. Let me come back here. I think I closed my thing. Let me get back to it. Screen bigger here for you. Okay. So we're here in the tic-tac-toe. Okay. All right. Tic-tac-toe, basic game. Okay. So what we have here is our mission. So our mission is a tic-tac-toe game. And this is very executive level or product manager level, right? Or solopreneur. Let's say you have an idea for a product. So this is all we've given it. And the AI is going to think about from a templated point of view of like problem, solution, implementation plan. And it's going to go ahead and start filling this out for us. And we're going to get a chance to take a look at what it came up with, right? So I'm fine with X and O markers. That's traditional. It's going to be a regular 3x3. Yeah, turn indicators. Like I like the high level to-do list description we're talking about here. So implementation plan. Yeah, this seems like a good good high level. We're going to have tests built in, but it's okay to say that. Yeah. So I like all that. I like, as long as it's simple and it stays MVP, I'm going to say, no, I don't want to make any more changes. And so the next best practice that Liftoff gives us is it goes to work for you, right? So we want to make a state diagram. A lot of processes would do a lot better if you took the time to do a state diagram. All of these best practices, really, if you think about it, were invented a long time ago. But do we always thoroughly apply them to our dev process? And the answer is no. Even I don't. But when I have AI to help me, and then a guided methodology to help me on top of that with the AI, it becomes fairly effortless. I know it's worth thinking about these game states before I go program a game or, a business app, right? Let's just make sure they're right. Empty. Player one always starts. You know, I mean, you could have it where like, hey, you like to give player player two the first turn. You might want to go back and forth. So this is where you need to define it. So a lot of executives say, I want this. But then when you think about it down to this next level, a lot of things jump out at you and you go, oh, wait, okay. Now that we say it out loud. Okay. Yeah. Does player one always use X? Could they have selected that? Or do you have a fun children's game where they get to pick, you know, bunnies and cats to put on the screen? You know, you would have to think through that, right? Okay. This is all very basic. I like how it's keeping it simple. I'm going to say I don't need to update. If I said yes, I want to update it, I could add something, but I just haven't found anything. But on purpose, I'll do that on purpose on this next one. And I'm going to show you. So in other words, like you can go edit this by hand. You can literally just say, you can just add to it and save this document. So here's the data, the domain driven design, right? So this is where we start planning out like, okay, if those are your game rules in your state diagram, how would we model this? So entities, game root, players, current turn, move history. Let's just say we want to modify something, okay? What changes would you like to make? It requires after the game ends, the players can reset and play again. I probably should have said this a little earlier, but I just want to show you like this is the concept. You just say your goal. It figures out what to edit. So you see it added the out loud part. Players can choose to reset and start a new game. Now that probably should have made it into the state diagram, right? I'll just go ahead and add it. After, actually, any time a player can choose to reset the game. I mean, you got to be specific, right? Think about this. You could have had a tic-tac-toe game you could only reset when you finally get to a win-draw state. Or can you do it at any time? These are the amazing things that are really going to be the details that guide the AI pair programmer tools, right? Because AI is now a pair programmer with us. Anybody that's not doing that, at least in a careful way, is missing out. They're really not going as fast as they can. And the way you rely on it will, really depend on the outcome. But I'm trying to show you a best practice here. So our methodology is to go ahead and get these types of documents together. And now, the most important thing, we generate the features, the user stories from all of this documentation. So these user stories are very specific to our business rules and things that we just discussed. So notice how it's making feature files, right, over here. Just a moment, it's going to save all these feature files. More changes. Yeah, if you wanted to edit any of these feature files, let's say something was too complicated or missed something, let's see. Initial board state, game initialization, won the game. So yeah, I mean, I don't really know if I agree with this game reset, right? Because you come to a draw and it looks like the board's immediately going to be cleared. So I'm just going to take that out. Reset after a win. Reset anytime. Given that, I would just say, given a player chooses to reset the game, the board should be cleared, the game should start. Yeah. So you see how I simplified it? You really want to go through these features because this is what we're going to start doing top down rapid development in with the next tool I'll show you. Okay. So let's see, any other changes I want to make? Yep. So homepage. Okay. So I don't want the homepage feature anymore. Actually, so the initial Hello World app, the homepage should show the game. And not the to-do list. Let's move away from that to-do list. Okay. So it kind of jumped ahead. It's starting to program some stuff. I didn't. Well, okay, no, that's right. We had steps already for the, okay, that makes sense. It did need to update that. Okay, so basically now we've freed ourselves from the old Hello World to-do list, and it should see a game board. And the other thing that it edited was some of the automated QA. So the automated quality assurance from a top down, from kind of a feature level, is it needed to update that because we already had this. So I visit the homepage, and then it opens up the browser and, makes sure that the page comes up, and it should see, tic-tac-toe somewhere, and it should see a game board, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's going to be connecting these automated tests to our code for us in the next tool that I show you. So I think we're done with liftoff, right? So I just want to reiterate, we did ignition, which basically lays down a perfect project for you, a perfect opinionated, particular framework, particular technology with a lot of the decisions made so that later your dev team and your AI doesn't have to keep making those decisions. Then the next thing you saw was liftoff, which is how to translate your idea into behavioral driven development user stories. And those user stories are these right here. And that's enough to get started, right? Think about it. You've got your user stories, you've got your business rules and domain aggregate and entities. So, basically for your database or how you model, and you've got your state diagram with your rules and how conditions can, move around from state to state. That's the beginnings of, and you've got an enterprise level framework ready to go, right? So that's the foundation of getting started with a good AI project. Now I'm going to show you something manually. So this is like an example tool that a lot of developers aren't even at, but most developers should be able to get to the level of just using Aider or Windsurf or Cursor to rapidly understand their code and go through their code and edit their code. But I'm going to show you how that works, and then we're going to amp that up, and I'm going to show you the third tool. So this tool would be like, let's say, what does this program do? Like, let's say there was a code base you're unfamiliar with, right? And it's going to give an answer. So it's going to go, it's literally going through my code, mapping it, and going to tell us all about it. But give it a second. It's going through a lot of code. I could have been more specific. I could have said, what does the tic-tac-toe part of the code do? But I think it's gonna, okay. So here we are. Okay, it's good. Let's focus on tic-tac-toe. So includes one app. It's got a database model like item. It's got some web views. That's true. It's got a REST API. It's a Django app. It's got a testing framework. It's true. That is okay. So in summary, it's a Django web REST significant testing infrastructure. Yeah, Okay, so now if I continue to say yes and add these extra files, it's going to keep going through and analyzing a whole lot of stuff. But let's go ahead and add this one. Hot fireboard. Let's say no, because these are the tools. These are the tools, tools. I'm going to skip the rest. So it's going to add. I'm just showing you. So why am I showing you what I'm showing you? I'm just showing you how a typical coder is going to benefit from AI. It's going to be very, kind of manual, conversation, pair programming, um, you know. So what does the scaffold do? I know what it does. It's a Django scaffolder tool that can expertly, add things to your project. That's not the point. The point is this is a hands-on. I'm going to ask it to tell me about my code. I'm going to ask it to fix my code. Cool. I'm going to get it to help me analyze my code. You could say things like create a hello world.md that documents the scaffold, right? So easy, right? So this is the type of speed, the baseline speed that you should expect, right? So there it goes. It's going to make my hello world markdown file. We'll go take a look at that and we'll destroy it. But just imagine all of your processes, your human engineers, who wants to do documentation, right? This actually goes and reads all your code, ground truth code. And look at this. This is a nice, if you really cared about this piece of code, what a nice document generated. So that's just a good example of generative AI helping you write code, write tests, write documentation. It could go fix something in my code. I'm not going to show you all that right now. I'm going to show you even a more advanced method. I just needed to show you the new manual method in 2025, and I want to show you our advanced method in just a second here. Okay, so let me just drop out of that. Hello world. I'm not afraid to delete you because you're so easy to make. I'm not afraid to delete pieces of code because I can remake them very quickly and make them right. Okay, so the final tool I'll show you is the the tricorder, and just give it some cool. Right. So yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry, discovery 1. Okay, so I got the tool running. So what's cool about this is, you remember that manual thing I just did where I asked the AI to help me? Well, this is kind of an autopilot, right? So what it's going to do is similar to how I would be a developer sitting there asking it, what does this code do? What should we make next for these features? What should we fix because the unit test passed or failed? I'm going to be going through that, but automatically with this. So I could literally sit here and kind of make sure the process doesn't go off the rails because, it is an automated process, but you can see, so it's already, first thing it does, it's analyzing my scenario of game initialization, starting a new game. Okay. So now that we know all that, what do I need to go code? Okay. So now it's going to go make a web view and begin to make a nice web view that goes to our tic-tac-toe game for me, right? So that's what it is doing, but it's, kind of on autopilot. And the thing we've learned about our tools is we've designed them to have all the best practices in them as they churn through your code requirements. And also have little gyroscopes and guardrails to keep them back on track, right? So look at all this stuff it's making for me. I love it. It's updating, it's doing my migrations to, give me more objects in my database. And so it's just a wonderful little auto coder that I can come back in an hour, or I could sit here and watch it. And this is made up money. It doesn't cost $600. Don't be afraid of that. But there it goes, right? And so I can really let it I can let it go like Elsa and Frozen. So it's doing the work that I would do, and it's really wonderful. This is the scoreboard. I'm going to pause here. So this is how BDD works, right? We can get a scoreboard of which features are done, which implementation of the automated QA is done, and this little scoreboard defines our goal for the game, right? There's about 10 different steps we need to do probably to get this tic-tac-toe game going. And, 3 or 4 features, 6 scenarios, 10 steps, right? And so we're going to keep an eye on the scoreboard, and it should keep improving, right? This is what should keep improving as it rips through this whole thing. Now that scoreboard was per feature. So each feature is going to have its own little scoreboard of numbers that the tricorder is keeping track of. I'm just going to let this run a little bit. Let's see if we have anything at all we can see from the game that's developing right now. So just get into our little environment. Well, it's in the middle of. Sometimes you can take a peek, and sometimes it's got the hood open and it's just going at it. So one discovery pass is what we define as a discovery, is if you were to make a pass through all of these features and each of the scenarios one time. So what it's basically doing is it looks at this feature, it looks at this scenario, and it says, how do I code that? How do I test it? Did I do it? And it goes to this one. Does the same thing for that reset scenario. It goes in here and looks at player 1 makes a move, player 2 makes a move. And it goes through there, and it's basically auto coding and testing every single one of these as it goes along. That's one discovery if you make a pass through that. Now each pass you make through, it gives about you saw me put a command called iteration 5. So it gives it like, about 5 shots to rip through here and improve the code before it moves on to the next feature. So it's making one discovery pass. I don't know, that might take 30 minutes. I don't know how long it's going to take. But right there, it just wrote some game steps. So steps are, if the features are your goal, right, in top-down development, the steps are, how do we prove that our code is working? It's the automated testing of that goal, of that feature. So it just went and wrote this. It's like giving them on the game page. Okay, so it opens up a browser and says, cool, did you get a positive response? When I start a game, right? So okay, so I think it's got to work on this to make this real. See how it's kind of like just giving this one a pass, right? It's got some notes for itself. It's still working on that, but this is real code. This is real code. It opened it up, and it makes sure that your home page opens up, right? It goes and gets the link for the tic-tac-toe home game, and that needs to open up to an actual page. Start a new game, still working on that test. That's okay. So I should see a 3x3 game. Okay, so these look like this automated test has been completed, right? So it's like, given a game board, I expected 9 div cells, right? That's great. All of them should be empty. So you see it keeps updating this file because down here it's working on that feature and it's making it real. So let's just see where it's going. Catch back up with it. So anyway, that's the basic thing I want to show you there. I'll go ahead and let's see if Let's see if we're in a messed up state or if it's can import item from tic-tac-toe. So let me come out of warp real quick. Okay. And I could come back in. And so this is where an engineer might want to be, jump in and like get things back on the rails, right? So right here we can let's make sure we're yeah, okay. Actually I want a certain model. Gemini, the models just keep coming out. The hits keep coming. Every 3 months, a significant increase in the coding intelligence of these models come out, and Google Gemini just took the lead. It's just a little bit better, a little bit cheaper, actually a lot cheaper. And but I always just go on quality. I'll pay almost anything just to get an AI assist that's got great quality. So if we run a quick check inside of so now what I'm showing you is that auto coded a whole lot of stuff for us. Maybe I want to let the whole discovery run, or maybe I want to stop and then jump back in and kind of see what I can do. So that is the expected behavior, that your engineer would jump back in, a lot of work was done for them, but now I might need to go pair program with the AI again to make more progress. So we continue to make the autocoder a better and better tool automatically and solve more and more problems. But I can always jump back in and pair program with the AI again. And if I'm a very, sure of myself, proud engineer, that's okay too. I mean, some of those are the best. I could just jump in and just edit the code by hand. Nothing stops you from ever editing the code by hand. And that's another point I want to make. At all times, you notice I'm in a regular IDE. These tools are running right here locally on my machine. Sure, we're getting, we're calling Claude or we're calling Gemini for its advice. But what I want to say is, let's say Claude goes down for a day, or let's say you're done using these AI tools for whatever reason. This code is yours to keep. This project that you've generated is tangible. There is absolutely nothing stuck in the cloud to where you can't just become a regular engineer and get to work and start working on these I don't know. Let's see. Oh, here's a tic-tac-toe. To start working on these models. Let's say you don't like how the game model is coded. There's nothing keeping you from by hand. This is all tangible. It's local. I call it Terra programming. I'm a little tired of cloud programming. Just a philosophy of mine. I like being able to see all my code, touch all my code, test all my code locally on my computer before I ship it off to whatever pipeline that I'm working in. So I just really, really want to stress solid local. The code is yours. It's right here. Not going anywhere. Any cloud system could go down. You've still got your code. Cannot stress that enough. I don't really know how to make that point. Maybe I made it. Okay. So I'm going to, Django is kind of a complex framework. It's not always the one you want to work in. Like if you don't need a database with security and role-based and all this other stuff, you'd want to drop back to like a fast API, plain JavaScript type framework, right? You would want to pick the framework of whatever complexity that you want and just dial it back. Let's see. So behave, is that still running? Okay. All right. So the project is, so here's an example. Let's see what it does. So this is an example of a manual warp loop. And I don't know why it's not used more often, but any type of error you get, if you can feed it back into the AI, that's what you want. And so I like using Aider because it sits right next to my code. I don't have to like go copy this and go over to Claude and paste it in, right? Like I don't have to go do this to get an answer. I'm right here in the IDE. So that's why we like this tool. Import error, view API, trying to import a model net item based on the file summaries. Define a tic-tac-toe models item. Okay. All right. So let me just troubleshoot this real quick. Okay. So it has the files. Let's fix the import error. It'd still be a good idea that your engineers know actually how to code in the particular stack you've programmed. That's kind of an understatement. That's kind of a joke. All right, let's see. It's come out of warp. Let's see what it's doing. All right, we're going all the way to manage pi. Okay. You see how much it's like, and you can reason with it, right? I don't have to accept. Oh, why are you removing item? I'm gonna say no to that. I'm just gonna explain why the solution is to remove item.py. I mean, yes, it was just a hello world example, but why must we remove it? I'm open to your advice. Sometimes if you don't say certain techniques of prompting, it'll be like, oh, sorry, sir. So I like to let it know I'm still open to like what it's about to teach me. And so a lot of our tools do have special prompts, to get the most out of your AI assist. But let's see what it says. Like, I'm okay with deleting that because this is just the hello world. And if this is causing a problem, yeah, let's get rid of it because we kind of moved on from it, right? But I just want to know. Okay. Just a fix. It's a logical. The file's empty of code. Okay. So somewhere it got the idea that item just wasn't part of our features, and it started to destroy it and kind of get rid of it. It's kind of a side effect of like giving it a hello world that works. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, cool. I agree with that. Okay, do it. So let's do that cleanup. So kind of got a little bunched up, slowly trying to get rid of the hello world to do app portion. But I think this is a great example. And so if I clean this up, I could go back into a warp cycle and it would just keep going. All right, let's remove that. Let's go try to run our server. Let's do a server check. All right, let's do that. So I'm going to do that inside of. I'm going to let you watch me program some more because this is really what it's like to use AI pair programming. It's like you got automatic tools, you have really good procedures, and then you'll hit a snag and humans got to be in the seat with the AI and fix it, right? Or a really good Django programmer would just go edit it by hand. I am just like moderate at Django. And there's some complex settings when you use something that's complicated, right? There's some complex settings up here in the config that just really have to be perfect, right? All of these things in a complicated Django framework have to be perfect. Just like when you do React, or Vue, or any of those complicated JavaScript frameworks, those have to be right as well. Great. So I'm going to run the Python. I'm going to show it this check error, right? And I'm going to ask it to fix it. Kind of simple. It's like a simple little, right? You could just like ask and make a plan with it. So you can be as collaborative as you want. But these are all very good. So in your main project, so include. Oh yeah, got to include our app name. So were we not? Yeah, I do think we have. Yeah, I agree with that change. So let's do that. Okay. All right, let's do it. Home view. Okay. Okay, so home view should now just be the game. We did have a hello world home view, but we've purposed it. What should we fix? Actually, I could just do an ask here. I don't know what I don't know what's going to code, but let's do that. And so, you could leave the demo right now and know that you got ignition, set your project up, lift off to get your ideas down, tricorder to kind of rip through an auto code, and then you also have seen the manual way. And so all of these are used. I'm just continuing this video because I want to see a tic-tac-toe game. So I have to get through these configuration errors within this framework because there's probably already some code laid down that we might be able to take a peek at. So that's what I'm doing right now. If you're wondering why I'm still going on this demo. Okay, so the problem is trying to import home view from views. It's actually defined as tic-tac-toe. So let's import. Okay, so it's going to change this one little tiny, particular way that it's going to actually import this page. So let's try that. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. When you do an ask, it doesn't actually change the code. So that was right here. Yeah, that was just an ask. I should have immediately said, okay, fix it. And so it's got all this context in its mind, this entire conversation. It's able to keep all of these errors, all of your code in its mind. And that's why AI pair programming is like, it's a big help. I'm just going to warp real quick. There's no items. Items is gone. Yeah. Remove the obsolete item that so we're finished, like we're finished cleaning up that shouldn't exist. We're deleting it. Good. Glad you didn't find it. So, okay, you've added back to chat. However, to remove the, yeah, let's get rid of those. I'm not going to add that to the chat. Okay, cool. No issues. All right. So we're back. We're back. So now we can run the server. Okay. So now we have a server up. Okay. So this is how far it got before it got really bunched up on the thing. So let's let this is where I'd let tricorder run again and do another discovery and see if it can make forward progress. Now that we're past those, oh, look at that. Yeah, that scoreboard's working better now. So you can see that, so BD test failing, that's good. A BD test failing is actually progress because when you when you have something fail, you know what you need to work on, right? Go look at the features again real quick. So it's thinking about it. It's getting back in there. Mm-hmm. Okay. So now what it's doing, it's using some of these best practices in our tool. It creates a dependency order of, what it wants to work on, and creates a little checklist. Yep. And it's basing those off of whether the tests passed or failed. So here we go. Let's get that going. See if it's really doing our migrations or not. That's kind of another health check that we teach. Oh, how cool. Look at that. It automatically, since I got past that error, now the autopilot's working again. And so the tricorder is on auto mode, and this is really cool. So now that it's done this migration, it's improved the database. And once it improved the database, we really have an app running on the front end that's depending on that, right? So really cool. Really, really cool. Okay. And so hopefully the scoreboard just keeps increasing for this game init feature. That'd be really cool. So there's a lot of other AI coders that have been promised to do very complex things like Manus or Devin, and they do it secretly up in the cloud. And I think this type of tool just leaves it right here for you to see. Manus, how do you can't get your project out of the cloud? So let's see. Run Python manage .py run server. Oh, it's back to that, huh? Really? Come out of warp here. Let's just do this little check here. Let's do check. Why do you keep coming back to this home view error? Let's see. It's got the app name in. It keeps getting confused of whether the naming convention is views or views.web to do this. So let's just see. Okay. So basically it keeps coming back to this one error that kind of messes it up. So what I'm going to do here, is please add a significant note what the general pattern is for imports on what you just fixed. Let's see. Make that note in the architecture and maybe other places too. How can you remember detailed examples and general examples so that we do not make this mistake again? So one of the interesting things we're working on with the auto coder is that it's going to learn patterns on its own of what it keeps messing up on and teach itself. So you saw kind of how I did that manually, but it needs to have a note because if it keeps making the same mistake, you're not going to get very far with the auto tricoder, right? It's just not gonna, it's not going to realize it. So we're trying to make this more and more intelligent so that it doesn't, if it reaches a state of like banging its head against the wall, right? Um, you get somewhere. So I'm going to wrap this up. So, and there's a lot of other frameworks that we're working on. We're working on a Django Ninja Express one, and honestly, I, I, I I think that's going to do a lot better than the Django DRF that you see here because we have experience with which frameworks can really fly well with which types of AI. And so that's kind of another service we provide to you. So we do this nonstop. We come up with, just want to wrap this up and kind of remind you where you have all these tools together, those are what we call a ship. So you put all these weapons and tools on a ship and you get on that ship and you set sail and you learn how to pilot that ship. Um, we're using the analogy of kind of like a spaceship, but you could think of a Navy ship, whatever you want. But AI is both a friend and you kind of do battle with it if you don't know how to use it right. So what you want to do is just, it really matters how you set the table with your project, which tech stack you've picked, what instructions you've given it, and then how these tools iterate and rip through here. So I did this tic-tac-toe game last night for about 30 minutes. I had good luck with at least a visual board set up ready to play a turn. So um, anyway, just wanted to show you that. Really enjoy showing you that. I really enjoy using these AI tools in my day. I can't imagine ever going back, and I just want the best ones possible. So, sorry, man. I get so curious. I gotta know if it's made progress. I want to stop the video, but man, do I want to know. Okay, just want to know where it got to. It's like opening in a present. It really is. When you go to lunch and you come back and it makes progress, you're just so excited. So, all right, let's see. Okay, code fix. So I'm not really seeing it progress on the scoreboard. So to me, I would come out of work, and I'd try to figure this out. So anyway, I got to end it here, and hope to show you some more demos where it makes super smooth progress. But this is all real. This is all very useful. This is the most gradual progressive type tool you can get that basically stays on the rails. That's what I got to leave you with. Bye.